They say opportunity knocks. But the truth is, successful entrepreneurs don't wait for a knock. They build the door, craft the handle, and invite opportunity in. In every age, from the merchant ships of Venice to the glowing screens of Silicon Valley, one truth has never changed: success begins not with capital, connections, or chance, but with a mind disciplined to see what others overlook. The mindset of a successful entrepreneur is a quiet storm, calm on the surface but charged with vision beneath. The entrepreneur does not wait for the perfect moment, for he knows there is no such thing. Instead, he creates it. He does not curse the winds of change. He adjusts his sails and lets those very winds carry him forward. Where most see obstacles, he sees opportunity disguised as difficulty. He understands that progress is rarely comfortable and that growth is born from challenge, not convenience. The successful entrepreneur lives by a powerful law of cause and effect. He knows that his thoughts are the cause and his results the effect. So he guards his mind as carefully as a banker guards a vault. He fills it only with ideas that serve him, only with beliefs that strengthen him, and only with goals that stretch him beyond yesterday's limitations. He is not afraid to fail, for he has long understood that failure is simply tuition paid to the school of success. Every setback is an invitation to refine, to learn, and to rise stronger. While others surrender to discouragement, he studies it. He takes notes from defeat and converts it into determination. The entrepreneur's greatest asset is not his product or service, it is his mindset. He practices gratitude for what he has, vision for what he wants, and discipline to pursue it. He begins his day not by asking, "What will the world give me?" but rather, "What can I give to the world?" He builds value first, knowing that reward always follows service. He plans his work and works his plan. He studies the patterns of success and aligns himself with them day after day, quietly, persistently. His dreams are not castles in the air. They are blueprints for reality, drawn in faith, constructed in effort. And perhaps most importantly, he lives by this timeless truth: we become what we think about. This simple idea, understood and applied, transforms dreamers into doers, thinkers into builders, and workers into creators. If you wish to walk the path of the successful entrepreneur, start not with resources but with resolve. Begin where you are, with what you have, and commit to constant growth. Read, learn, observe, and act. Keep your thoughts fixed on what you want, not what you fear. Refuse to be swayed by temporary defeats or the opinions of others. For every great enterprise, every thriving business, every remarkable achievement began in the same place, in the stillness of a single mind that dared to believe it could be done. Success begins in the mind long before it appears in the world. It takes root quietly, unseen by others, long before it bears fruit in action or achievement. Every invention, every fortune, every masterpiece began as a seed, an idea held firmly in the fertile soil of a disciplined mind. The difference between those who drift through life and those who rise to greatness lies not in circumstance, but in what they choose to cultivate within their thoughts. A person becomes the sum of what he believes possible. If he fills his mind with doubt, he creates barriers that never existed. If he fills it with purpose, he opens doors where walls once stood. The mind is the workshop of destiny, and thought is its raw material. Everything we see around us, the cities, the machines, the miracles of science, were first the invisible creations of thought. The successful man or woman does not wait for proof before believing. They believe and then create the proof. Their outer world becomes a reflection of their inner conviction. They carry within them a mental picture so vivid that the world eventually conforms to it. What they think about, they bring about, for thought directs energy, and energy shapes reality. Most people underestimate the quiet power of thought. They treat it casually, allowing fear, gossip, and limitation to fill the mind as though these things were harmless. Yet thought, like a seed, grows into whatever it's fed. A garden left unattended grows weeds, not flowers. In the same way, a mind left untrained produces confusion, not clarity. The successful individual knows this and tends his inner world daily. He feeds it with books that uplift, conversations that challenge, and experiences that strengthen his resolve. He understands that the mind must be conditioned for success before success can exist in any tangible form. This conditioning begins with belief. Not blind belief, but the steady conviction that one can grow, improve, and achieve through right thinking and right action. Each morning becomes an opportunity to reinforce this truth. The person who holds a clear image of success within himself, who sees the end in his mind before he begins, walks with quiet confidence. He is not swayed by the opinions of others, for his vision is rooted deeper than doubt. While others wait for circumstances to change, he changes himself, and by doing so, alters the very course of events around him. There is no mystery to greatness, only mastery of thought. The successful understand that what they dwell upon becomes the pattern of their life. They guard their thoughts as carefully as their time, for both are precious and irreplaceable. Success, therefore, is not a destination reached by chance or luck. It is a state of mind nurtured, protected, and expressed through action. Before the world can recognize a man as successful, he must first recognize himself as capable. That recognition, that inner knowing, is where every true success story begins. Entrepreneurs think in terms of possibilities, not problems. They see the same world as everyone else, yet their vision bends toward what could be, not what is. Where others see a wall, they see a door waiting to be built. They understand that problems are merely puzzles designed to test imagination, not barriers meant to halt progress. The ordinary mind fixates on the difficulty, the entrepreneurial mind looks beyond it, searching for the hidden opportunity that lies within. Every obstacle becomes a chance to innovate, to create, to grow stronger than the challenge itself. This mindset is not born overnight. It is cultivated through discipline, observation, and faith in the power of thought. The entrepreneur knows that complaining changes nothing, but thinking changes everything. Problems lose their weight when viewed through the lens of possibility. What once seemed impossible becomes merely unexplored. The difference lies in focus. Most people see limitation. The entrepreneur sees leverage. He asks, how can this be improved? How can this serve others? How can this open a new path forward? It is through these questions that progress is born. Throughout history, every great advancement began with someone who refused to accept a problem as permanent. The Wright brothers saw not the impossibility of flight, but the possibility hidden within it. Edison saw not 1,000 failures, but 1,000 steps toward illumination. The modern entrepreneur continues this tradition. He faces uncertainty with curiosity, not fear. He does not ask why something can't be done. He asks what must be done to make it possible. To think in terms of possibilities is to live from a place of faith rather than doubt. It requires one to believe in unseen potential, to trust that solutions exist even when they are not yet visible. This form of thinking elevates a person above circumstance, giving him control where others surrender. It transforms frustration into fuel, delay into development, and failure into feedback. Every situation becomes a classroom, every setback a teacher. The entrepreneur's mind is an instrument finely tuned to progress. He listens not for what's wrong, but for what could be right. He studies problems only long enough to understand them, then invests his energy into the creation of answers. In doing so, he discovers a profound truth, that life tends to reward those who move forward, not those who stand still. Possibility thinkers are not dreamers detached from reality. They are builders who see reality as clay, ready to be shaped by vision and persistence. When one trains the mind to think this way, the world begins to expand. The impossible starts to dissolve, replaced by the recognition that limits exist only in thought. To the entrepreneur, every problem carries within it the seed of progress, waiting for the right mind to awaken it. He lives by the quiet conviction that for every difficulty, there are a dozen opportunities waiting to be found, and it is his task, his privilege, to discover them. They understand that failure is feedback, not finality. To the ordinary person, failure feels like a closed door, a painful reminder of imperfection. But to the entrepreneur, it is a mirror reflecting lessons that success alone could never teach. Failure is not the end of the journey. It is the compass that points toward refinement. Those who achieve greatness do not escape failure, they interpret it differently. They know that every misstep, every disappointment, every so-called defeat carries within it a message, a clue about what must change, what must improve, what must be understood more deeply. The person who fears failure imprisons his potential. He hesitates, avoids risk, and waits for perfect conditions that never come. But the one who welcomes failure as a teacher walks freely into progress. He does not measure himself by the number of mistakes made, but by the courage to keep moving despite them. Failure becomes a form of feedback. Data, not disgrace. It tells him, try again, but differently. It strips away what doesn't work and illuminates what might. In this way, every setback becomes an investment in wisdom. History is filled with those who turned failure into foundation. Thomas Edison's thousands of failed experiments were not losses. They were lessons, each one guiding him closer to success. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy before revolutionizing industry. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination before building an empire of it. These individuals shared one trait: they refused to let failure define them. Instead, they used it to refine their vision. They understood that feedback, even in the form of failure, is a necessary ingredient in growth. The entrepreneur views failure as part of the creative process. He does not personalize it, he studies it. He asks what can be learned, how systems can be improved, and how the experience can strengthen his resolve. This perspective transforms what others call defeat into a stepping stone. It removes emotion from error and replaces frustration with curiosity. The moment he stops fearing failure, he gains freedom, the freedom to experiment, to innovate, to explore paths others avoid. Success, when examined closely, is simply the accumulation of lessons learned from failure. Each attempt sharpens judgment, clarifies purpose, and strengthens character. Those who succeed on a grand scale often do so not because they never fell, but because they refused to stay down. They developed resilience, the quiet confidence that no experience is wasted if it contributes to understanding. The mature mind knows that life itself operates through trial and adjustment. Nature fails and tries again in endless patterns. The seed that doesn't sprout makes way for the one that does. Likewise, human progress unfolds through the courage to attempt, err, and attempt again. The entrepreneur embraces this rhythm. He expects failure as part of the process, not as punishment but as preparation. In doing so, he transforms what others fear into what he values most, the honest, unfiltered feedback that guides him ever closer to mastery. Discipline and persistence outweigh luck every time. Luck is the hope of the unprepared, the comfort of those who wait for opportunity instead of creating it. Discipline and persistence, however, are the twin pillars upon which all lasting achievement rests. They are the quiet forces that move mountains and transform ordinary men and women into extraordinary builders of their own destiny. While luck is fleeting, discipline endures. While luck depends on chance, persistence depends on choice. The disciplined individual rises before inspiration arrives, and the persistent one keeps moving long after motivation fades. Together they shape a life of purpose that no circumstance can undo. The disciplined mind understands that success is not achieved through bursts of effort, but through steady, consistent action. It is not the brilliance of an idea that makes a person great. It is the unwavering commitment to execute it. Discipline demands order, patience, and a respect for process. It is the art of showing up every day whether conditions are favorable or not. It is the willingness to do what must be done even when enthusiasm wanes. The persistent man, on the other hand, turns discipline into endurance. He keeps pressing forward when results are slow, when others give up, when the road seems endless. His persistence turns temporary defeats into stepping stones, converting time and effort into eventual triumph. Those who rely on luck wait for the winds to change. Those who live by discipline and persistence adjust their sails. They know that the same storms that discourage the weak can strengthen the determined. Every great accomplishment, from building a business to mastering a craft, is a story of persistence disguised as talent. The disciplined person may not always work faster, but he works longer, with focus and consistency that compound over time. In a world that celebrates quick results, discipline remains the quiet advantage that endures when luck fades and enthusiasm dies. Discipline is the commitment to control oneself before seeking to control outcomes. It is saying no to distractions, no to excuses, and yes to the vision that burns quietly within. Persistence is the emotional endurance to stay the course, to keep faith in the process even when rewards are invisible. Together they forge character, and character attracts opportunity. What others call luck often arrives at the doorstep of those who have prepared for it through years of deliberate effort. When preparation meets opportunity, the world calls it luck, but the wise know it is simply the inevitable result of discipline and persistence. The man of discipline and persistence is unshaken by delay, unbroken by difficulty. He understands that the universe yields to consistency. Day after day he lays one brick, confident that the structure of success will rise in its time. He does not gamble with chance. He builds with certainty. For while luck may visit some by accident, discipline and persistence ensure that success stays, grows, and multiplies with purpose. They live by purpose, not by circumstance. The difference between those who drift through life and those who direct it lies in the quiet power of intention. Circumstances are the waves, ever changing, unpredictable, often rough. Purpose is the compass, steady and unshaken, guiding a person through all tides. Those who live by circumstance react to life. Those who live by purpose create it. The entrepreneur, the visionary, the achiever, all understand that external conditions are temporary, but inner direction is permanent. While most wait for things to improve before they act, the purposeful individual acts to make things improve. Living by purpose means choosing the direction of one's life consciously, not leaving it to the shifting winds of chance or emotion. It means beginning each day with a sense of meaning that transcends the events of the moment. The person of purpose is not easily disturbed by setbacks or distractions, for his actions are guided by something larger than immediate comfort. He knows what he wants, why he wants it, and how each decision serves that vision. Purpose gives power to effort. It turns ordinary tasks into meaningful steps and transforms struggle into progress. The person who lives by circumstance is like a leaf carried by the wind. He moves, but he does not choose where. When times are good, he feels hopeful. When they are bad, he feels lost. His happiness depends on what happens around him. But the person who lives by purpose remains calm in both fortune and adversity. He understands that no external condition can take from him the ability to choose his attitude, his effort, and his response. His strength lies not in control over events, but in control over himself. Purpose gives man the courage to endure hardship. It fuels persistence when results are slow, and it keeps him humble when success arrives. It acts as both anchor and engine, holding him steady in chaos and driving him forward when doubt arises. Great lives are built not upon ease, but upon meaning. The purposeful man does not seek comfort, he seeks contribution. He asks not, "What can I get?" but "What can I build? What can I give?" To live by purpose is to possess clarity in a world of confusion. It means refusing to be defined by current conditions and instead defining oneself by conviction. The purposeful mind transforms obstacles into opportunities because it sees everything through the lens of mission. Each challenge becomes a test of faith, each delay a refinement of strength. The man who knows his purpose never feels truly lost, for even in the darkest hour he carries his direction within him. Circumstances may shift like sand beneath the feet, but purpose builds a foundation of stone. The winds of change may blow, the storms may rise, yet the one who lives by purpose walks steadily through it all, undaunted, unhurried, and unwavering, knowing that the outer world eventually bends to the strength of an inner vision that never wavers. Every decision is guided by vision, not emotion. This is the mark of the mature mind, the mind that governs itself rather than being governed by the passing storms of feeling. Emotion is the weather of the soul, changing, unpredictable, often deceptive. Vision is the climate, stable, enduring, and deliberate. Those who achieve greatness learn early that emotion may start the journey, but only vision can finish it. Where emotion reacts, vision plans. Where emotion seeks comfort, vision seeks progress. The one who allows feeling to dictate choice lives as a servant to circumstance, but the one who allows vision to lead becomes master of his own destiny. A clear vision acts as a compass through the fog of uncertainty. It is the mental picture of a destination so vivid that it directs thought, choice, and effort even in moments of confusion. The man of vision knows where he is going long before he arrives. He does not act on impulse, he acts on intention. Each step he takes serves a larger design. Emotion might tempt him to quit when the road grows steep, but vision reminds him of why he began. Emotion might whisper doubt in moments of difficulty, but vision speaks quietly of possibility and purpose. When decisions are guided by emotion, life becomes a series of reactions, up one day, down the next, swayed by opinion and circumstance. But when guided by vision, decisions form a steady line toward achievement. The visionary does not rush simply because he feels urgency, nor does he delay because he feels fear. He weighs each action against the image of his goal. He asks, does this serve my vision, or does it distract from it? In that single question lies the secret to consistency, focus, and peace of mind. Emotion is valuable when it inspires, but dangerous when it controls. It is the spark that can ignite action, but if left unchecked, it can also burn away reason. Vision, on the other hand, is the steady flame that endures through wind and rain. The man of vision appreciates emotion but never worships it. He lets feeling serve his purpose, not steer it. Through discipline he learns to pause before acting, to think before speaking, and to plan before moving. That pause, the quiet moment between feeling and decision, is where wisdom lies. The difference between mediocrity and mastery often lies in that pause. The person who decides based on emotion may win briefly, but loses steadily. The person who decides based on vision may struggle at first, but he gains momentum that cannot be shaken. Vision brings patience, patience brings clarity, and clarity brings lasting success. It is through the calm consistency of vision that great structures are built, great businesses are sustained, and great lives are lived. The wise know that emotion fades, but vision endures, and by aligning every decision with that vision, they move with purpose through a world that is constantly changing. They study success as a science and apply it as an art. The truly successful understand that achievement is not a matter of luck or mystery. It is a deliberate process governed by principles as precise as those found in nature. Just as a scientist studies cause and effect, they study human behavior, discipline, thought, and effort. They observe what works, what fails, and why. They gather knowledge not for pride, but for purpose. Yet they also know that knowledge alone is not enough. The science of success must be lived, felt, and expressed through the art of daily action. It must move from the intellect to the spirit, from theory to creation. The science of success is built on universal laws, laws that never change regardless of time or circumstance. The law of cause and effect, the law of belief, the law of habit, the law of persistence, these are constants. The person who studies them discovers that success is predictable, just as surely as failure is predictable when their opposites are followed. To learn these principles is to uncover the code of human progress. But to master them requires more than memorization, it requires practice. This is where the art begins, the art of applying these principles with intuition, creativity, and heart. The entrepreneur, the leader, the creator, each is both scientist and artist. They analyze results with precision, yet they act with imagination. They experiment with ideas, refine them, discard what doesn't serve, and improve what does. They understand that mastery is born through repetition and reflection. They do not chase shortcuts or miracles. They devote themselves to understanding the process. Through discipline and observation, they develop insight. Through consistent application, they turn insight into achievement. The art of success is the personal expression of these principles. It is the way one uses discipline to build, patience to wait, and imagination to create. No two people will practice it in exactly the same way, for art is individual. It draws upon personality, passion, and vision. What works for one may inspire another, but each must ultimately shape their own masterpiece. The science of success provides the framework, the structure. The art gives it life. Those who fail to study success drift through life as spectators, hoping that fortune will smile upon them. Those who study it know that fortune smiles upon those who prepare. They read, they listen, they observe the habits of those who have achieved, and they apply those lessons to their own circumstances. With each effort, they test, learn, and adjust. This continuous refinement, this blending of knowledge and intuition becomes a way of life. To study success as a science is to understand its laws. To apply it as an art is to embody those laws with grace, courage, and creativity. The combination creates a rare individual, one who not only understands how success works, but who lives it naturally, turning every thought, every action, every challenge into a brushstroke upon the canvas of accomplishment. Gratitude keeps them grounded, ambition keeps them moving. Within this simple balance lies the quiet harmony of the truly successful life. Gratitude without ambition leads to stagnation, ambition without gratitude leads to emptiness. But together, they form a powerful rhythm, the steady heartbeat of those who achieve greatly and live wisely. Gratitude roots a person in peace, reminding them of how far they've come. Ambition pulls them forward, reminding them of how far they can still go. One humbles the spirit, the other fuels it. The grateful individual begins each day with awareness of the blessings already present, the opportunities, the lessons, the simple privilege of being alive. He does not overlook the small victories, for he understands that appreciation multiplies what one values. Gratitude sharpens perception. It allows him to see abundance where others see lack. It replaces resentment with understanding and turns comparison into contentment. Through gratitude, he learns to see life not as a burden to be endured, but as a field of possibility to be cultivated. It anchors him in the moment, keeps his mind clear, and guards his heart against greed and despair. Yet gratitude alone would make one content to remain still. That is why ambition must follow closely beside it. Ambition whispers of what more can be done, of how one's gifts can be used to create, to serve, to expand. It is the fire that drives invention, the force that moves humanity forward. The ambitious mind is not restless, it is alive. It seeks challenge not for recognition but for the growth it brings. It refuses to let comfort become a cage. Every success, no matter how great, becomes a stepping stone to new mastery, a reminder that there is always room to improve. Gratitude keeps ambition honest. It transforms desire into purpose and prevents the hunger for success from turning into vanity. The grateful and ambitious individual does not chase wealth to escape scarcity. He builds it to express potential. He does not work to prove his worth. He works because he knows his worth. Gratitude gives him perspective when ambition tempts him toward excess, and ambition gives him movement when gratitude tempts him toward complacency. Together they create equilibrium, the state of inner richness that allows for outer achievement. Those who master this balance radiate calm determination. They move through life with quiet confidence, unshaken by success or failure. When they reach new heights, they give thanks instead of boasting. When they stumble, they learn instead of lamenting. Gratitude gives them humility, ambition gives them courage. Gratitude builds character, ambition builds legacy. They live not in pursuit of endless gain, but in expression of endless growth. And in this union of thankfulness and drive, they discover that the truest form of success is not merely to have more, but to become more. Each day a little wiser, a little stronger, a little closer to the full measure of one's potential, They invest in themselves before investing in anything else. Every great achievement begins within the individual, not in the market, not in the economy, not in circumstance. The successful understand that their greatest asset is not money, property, or position. It is their own mind, their skills, and their ability to think clearly and act decisively. They know that fortunes can vanish, industries can change, and opportunities can shift overnight, but the value of a well-developed mind and disciplined character remains constant. By investing in themselves first, they build a foundation upon which every future success securely rests. The average person seeks external security. He looks for it in a job, in luck, in the opinions of others. But the wise individual looks inward and asks, how can I increase my value? How can I improve my thinking, my knowledge, my habits? He understands that the mind is the true factory of wealth, the source from which all achievement flows. When he reads, studies, and listens to ideas that expand his awareness, he increases the power of his most essential tool, his capacity to create. Each hour spent improving himself compounds like interest, growing in value and influence over time. Investing in oneself means cultivating habits that strengthen both thought and action. It means developing discipline, curiosity, and resilience. It is the decision to learn something new when others waste time in distraction, to seek understanding rather than entertainment, to improve one's craft even when no one is watching. It is the quiet work done in private that later shines in public. The successful person knows that external rewards are simply reflections of internal growth. When he becomes more valuable, the world inevitably responds in kind. Money invested in oneself never loses value, for it pays dividends in every area of life. Education, health, communication, emotional control, creativity, these are the fields that yield the richest returns. A man who invests in understanding human nature becomes a better leader. A woman who invests in mastering her skill becomes indispensable in her field. Those who continually improve themselves attract opportunity not by chance but by design. Success gravitates toward competence, confidence, and character, all products of self-investment. There is no greater security than the ability to think independently, act intelligently, and persist courageously. These cannot be purchased or inherited, they must be developed. The person who builds them becomes self-reliant, unafraid of change, and capable of rebuilding from nothing if necessary. While others chase shortcuts, he invests in mastery. While others seek guarantees, he develops ability. And through this steady investment, he becomes the kind of person upon whom opportunity depends. Those who fail to invest in themselves spend life reacting to events. Those who do create them. For in the end, it is not what a person possesses that determines his future, but what he has become. And what he becomes is always the result of how much and how wisely he has invested in himself. The greatest wealth they build is the person they become. True success is not measured in numbers or possessions, but in growth, in wisdom, in character. The person who pursues wealth for its own sake may find riches but remain poor in spirit, while the one who seeks to become more, to think better, act better, live better, inevitably attracts both prosperity and peace. The world often confuses appearance with achievement, yet the truly successful understand that the finest fortune lies in self-mastery. They know that becoming is greater than having, because what you have can be lost, but what you become remains with you always. Every achievement in life mirrors the individual who created it. A strong business is the reflection of a disciplined mind. A beautiful work of art mirrors the sensitivity and persistence of its creator. Every lasting success grows from the soil of personal development. That is why the wise invest first in their inner world. They build character before they build wealth, and when the character is strong, wealth follows naturally. It cannot be otherwise, for the outer world always arranges itself to reflect the quality of the inner one. The process of becoming is not easy, but it is endlessly rewarding. It requires self-honesty, patience, and effort. It demands that one face fears, overcome weakness, and rise above comfort. Each challenge met and mastered adds to the unseen fortune within, the treasure of courage, confidence, and calm strength. This is the wealth that no market fluctuation can touch, no misfortune can erase. It is the foundation from which all other forms of success draw power. Those who build themselves understand that material gain is a byproduct, not the goal. They see money as a tool, not a trophy. They work not to impress but to express, to give form to their potential, to serve through their abilities, to leave the world a bit better than they found it. They realize that life's real reward is not what they acquire, but who they become in the process of earning it. For every effort to improve the self multiplies value in every other area: relationships, work, influence, and happiness. The person who focuses solely on accumulation often discovers an emptiness that no amount of possession can fill. but the one who focuses on growth experiences a quiet satisfaction that endures. He becomes his own source of strength, his own assurance, his own compass. Each year he grows richer in understanding, wiser in judgment, and steadier in spirit. His wealth cannot be counted in coin, but it radiates through his work, his character, and the way he moves through life. To build oneself is to build the only form of wealth that endures beyond time. It is the invisible fortune carried in thought, habit, and heart. And those who commit to that pursuit find that everything else, success, respect, fulfillment, flows naturally from the person they have steadily, patiently, and purposefully become. And the mindset of successful entrepreneurs is not a mystery. It is a discipline, a philosophy, a way of life. They think differently, act deliberately, and move with quiet conviction through uncertainty. They understand that success begins in the mind, is shaped by thought, and sustained through character. They do not wait for the right conditions, they create them. Each decision they make springs from vision, not emotion. They study success as one studies truth, applying its principles daily with patience and persistence. Their failures do not discourage them, for they see each setback as feedback guiding them toward refinement. They live by purpose, not by circumstance, and invest more in their own growth than in any external possession. Gratitude keeps them grounded, ambition keeps them advancing, and discipline ensures that their progress never depends on luck. They understand that every result in the outer world mirrors the strength of the inner one, and so they build themselves first. The greatest wealth they possess is the person they become. For in mastering thought, they master life. And in choosing to grow, they not only shape their own destiny, but inspire others to discover that same creative power within themselves. Every human being carries this potential, waiting to be awakened by a single decision, to think rightly, to act courageously, and to live intentionally. That is the true spirit of the entrepreneur, and it is available to anyone willing to begin today.